Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Pensacola, Florida, it's time for Pensacola Business Radio. Now, here are your Business Radio X hosts.
All right, good morning, everybody. Keith Hoffert here. It is 11:15. Noah's Ark has gone by, and the rains are officially over, from what I understand. This is Pensacola Business Radio, and this is a special edition. We're going to kind of sort of kick a unplugged thing we got going on here. So for those of you that are joining us on Facebook Live, welcome. Comment, all that good stuff. We'll try to keep up with it for the one person that may be watching. So I got Tony Pasko sitting on the couch in the studio, which is a first for me. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to hang out.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, these two guys wrangled you up. So
yeah.
All right.
I need the support.
So we're here to give him some support for the show that you guys got coming up, right? So there you're, Mike. Why don't we tell everybody what all that's about?
This Saturday, the 17th at the Imaging Theater, Tony's going to be playing with two of your friends. That was going to be
This guy right here.
okay.
Yeah, with me.
I didn't know that.
That's dumb drummers.
Mr. Jeff Nagel.
I was going by the flyer. The two people that were on there, I didn't realize.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Ryan
makes
and
more
That's his
sense.
stunt double.
Yeah.
The doors will be open at 6:30. Show starts at 7. $15 at the door and 10 pre-sale. So
Yeah, it's
Come on
cool,
out.
man.
Yeah.
And what a fantastic venue.
it's awesome.
So Tony, you got to break it in right, okay? Because it's
I'm going to try. It's my first time ever playing it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Never played there either.
Have you been in there?
I have.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It
So
is a
the
great
acoustics
place.
ought to be just fantastic.
Well, it's a theater, and theaters are a totally different thing than going to a bar to see a band. You can get away with so much more in a theater because it's also about the audience. At a bar, people are going to drink and
Yeah.
hook up and stuff. In a theater, not as much. So
Sweet.
theaters, I like playing there. It's cool.
All right, man. So let's just pretend I have no idea who you are, man. Tell me who you are.
Well,
Why are you here today, and why is it
am I here
important?
today? Well, the only reason I think I'm here today is because these guys started a reality TV show where they created some kind of duck call, and it became the most popular show on TV. And I just happened to play guitar and play some music on their show, and it caught on, and it seemed like millions of people seemed to like what these big bearded guys did, and it grew into a career for me, and it actually kind of took over my career and put me in this other direction.
Yeah.
But I was happy to do so, and being a musician, having millions of people hear your music either on the radio or on TV, it really doesn't matter. But
I really did feel like I was sitting in my living room earlier when you were playing some of the slide stuff. I was like, we're totally watching Duck Dynasty. That's exactly how it feels right now.
Are you able to play the songs from the show? Like at your own free will?
That'll cost $1.25.
Right.
So.
I wasn't planning on this show. For this, this show's a little bit of a departure than what I've done in the past, because I've been living in Pensacola now for a year, and I lived a dozen years in Mississippi, and the vibe here is different. I didn't like I was telling you earlier. I didn't want to just do the same thing I've done here because the crowd's different. Just the energy is different here. So I was like. And I met Jeff and Charlie and all these great new musicians. They bring a different energy. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do a whole new thing. It's a new theater. So I'm like, I'm gonna throw myself in the deep end, give myself a challenge. Right. And let's do something new. I'm in a new area. Let me show this audience another side of me. And because they've kind of seen, and when you hear about Duck Dynasty or Wahlburgers or Wicked Tuna or Shark Week and all these other shows that I've done, you hear a lot of the slide and a lot of the dobro and stuff, but what we do with Jeff and everything.
Wait a second, hold on, back up. You've done more than the Duck Dynasty? You've played on all of this.
Yeah, I do.
So roll through that resume one more time.
I do about 20 shows.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yes.
So you're just like, they're like, lock you up, throw away the key, you're here until the season's over.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that they use anything I send in.
Yeah.
Because I don't see the episodes prior. I'll have an editor or my record label will email me and they say, hey, this is the kind of music, or they'll send me examples of stuff, or they'll send me themes.
Right.
I've had editors say, for this show, we're looking for, Johnny Cash meets Kurt Cobain. And you're just going,
ready, go.
I mean, that doesn't exist, so I think they try to stump you. I think, that's kind of the joke with them. Like, let's see what they come up with. But I'm up for the challenge. I do the best I can. I send the stuff in, and I'm just every time.
And somebody writes you a check. It's amazing.
And I hear it on TV, and and the one thing I do have to comment about that, because you didn't hear a whole lot of blues and how the Duck Dynasty thing came about, because it wasn't a hit show when I came on board early on, and before season 2, and I was living in Mississippi, and the production team was in California, and the music that they had for the pilot and all that they didn't like. It was just standard can kind of music, and they wanted something more authentic because it's in Louisiana, and I was living in Mississippi, so my record label goes, "Hey, we got this guy that lives in Mississippi. He can write music that's more authentic to that area." And of course, they never told him I'm really from Chicago, but I was just living in Mississippi. But I was there.
You played the part.
Nonetheless, I was there. But so when they asked me, they told me it was a hunting show. So I just thought it was going to be like on the Outdoor Channel. Nobody would watch it. And, my mom would be happy. Oh, look at my son's on TV. I thought that's as far as it would go. And I never did it before. So it's not like I was sending stuff in and I finally got it. They asked me to do it. I recorded some stuff. I was going to put out a record, an instrumental record of my own music. And that's when they said, "Well, who's doing all the production?" And I said, "Well, I'm doing it myself in my studio, and I'm putting it together." And they're like, "Well, would you mind if we submit this to some, this TV show?" And I'm like, "Fine, whatever. If it pays, great, Yeah. So that's what I did, and when it came out and people started hearing it, you didn't hear a lot of that kind of music. And then when the show became popular, well, then all of a sudden you would see Geico commercials with slide guitar and. You
started a movement, man.
Well, maybe, I guess, but I called my label. When people say, well, when they copy you, it's a form of flattery. That's bull. Because I want to get paid. Exactly. And I'm paid. Honestly, I'm stealing it from Robert Johnson. Right. We all borrow from that poor guy. You know what I mean? So I had to kind of put myself in check going, wait, man, that's my riff. That on that Geico commercial. So I called my label up and I was like, they could have had the actual track. We could have just sent him. He's like, "I know, but that's how this stuff works. Welcome to the music industry." Yeah, right. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So you do learn over time that, oh yeah, they're ripping me off. Hey, thanks.
But all's go to 11.
Yeah.
So I gotta say though, and maybe it was just this weird sublime thing that happened, but it really did sort of, your music and your little riffs would set the stage when you're watching the show. So it happened. I mean. I don't know how you do that without seeing it or just like chance or whatever, but
and Jeff, you can kind of back me up on this. Everything has a tempo, and I maybe I honed in on that early on with how scenes are written, how people talk. Everything goes in a rhythm, and for me, that's where I always start with is the tempo of how something goes. And Jeff will tell you because we play together, and he's always telling me to slow down or speed up or
That's right.
Do you play with a ticker in your ear?
No.
But you used to, didn't you?
All that does is expose my shortcomings as a drummer. Yeah.
So maybe you're not going too fast. Maybe just go too slow.
Well, you know what I've figured out as a drummer for a long time is that bands always rush or have a tendency to rush, and whenever they do, the actual groove, that feeling can't develop. And so half the time you're playing a song and it just doesn't sound right. If you just slow down, 5 beats a minute or 10 beats a minute, which is not a lot, but you slow down, all of a sudden you give a little life, a little air to breathe, and the song just takes on a life of its own. And it's so much, so much better.
Not synchronicity, but syncopacity or something.
It's just
syncopation. There you go.
Yeah, it can breathe. Yeah. It just needs room to breathe, and it gives you a little space, and now you can hear silence. Dynamics get to take off. When you're just going fast, and it's just a wall of sound, it's just never quite does what it needs to do.
That's funny because your brother subscribes to the same philosophy.
Yeah, he won't go real fast.
No.
Go slow down.
That depends on which song we're playing. But no, he'll slow everybody down, kind of get the groove, and you're right. You can kind of feel the flow of it.
That's right.
Yeah. From a spectator's
drummers are kind of smart.
From a spectator's perspective, like from the theater, I've watched 150, 200 bands over the last 18 months.
Yep.
And just listening to it, what you're saying is like you can tell when a band's playing the same song.
Right.
We're all playing the same song. One person's not trying to play their own.
Outshine.
Everybody's doing the same thing.
That's right.
You can hear it.
That's right.
And that's what makes a better
That's
band.
the magic.
Yeah.
You can
When the band
hear that
locks in,
100%.
They're just tight.
You can just tell they slow down together, speed up together. Nobody's doing their own thing individually, and that's
So I've always loved about like the jam guys, like Black Crowes, for instance, man. When they play when they played and they would jam, it didn't matter if they knew what they were. I was always like, do they know what they're playing, or is this really a jam? Because you couldn't tell because they were so in sync with each other.
Right.
You know?
That's my favorite thing. That moment when a band gets to that and they're
lock in.
and
Yeah.
you lock in, and it's
It's
you know,
like a 4-day concert.
that's it. And then you just make it up as
Right,
you
yeah.
go, and you go up and down, you swell, and you get quiet, and you
Yeah.
swell again, and then you build, and then go back into a verse. That's just the best.
Right.
Those are the
And we
magic
have
moments.
those moments in our set on Saturday. We do a lot.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I like playing with Jeff so much, is because he understands that. That's a thing.
He's like the
with
one drummer.
musician. But we do. When we lock in, and with Charlie and everything, you know, when we're it's just the three of us.
Yeah.
We have those moments in our set where there's improv. You're going
Right.
to hear it. It's not every note hasn't been sweated over a million times.
That's right.
We know certain parts of the set, and when you come Saturday and you hear it, hopefully you won't catch on, but maybe you
Yeah.
will, where you're going, hey, these guys they're in it, they're locked, they're going. You know what I mean? Where's this going to go? Because we purposely put those moments in our set.
Yeah.
To, where Jeff will say, Tone, this is you until you give me the nod. We're keep
Right.
going.
Just go.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the name of the group?
Waffle Horse.
Waffle Horse.
Yeah.
So is this like a super group kind of thing, or is it, or the name's going to change
Well,
maybe
we're all
every time depending
super
on who the
groups.
members are, or is it this is going to be are we like buying wafflehorse.com kind of thing?
Definitely not buying wafflehorse.com. And it's a super group from the perspective that Tony's in it. Charlie and myself, we've been in some local bands. Charlie's in DLP, which is doctors, lawyers, and politicians. They play around. And Charlie and I used to play in a band called Urethra Franklin. And then we grew up, playing together in high school and things like that. So, we're not really the super part of the super group.
Yeah, you are.
But it's been fun because we all sort of come from different backgrounds. Right. You mentioned the jam band. That's kind of my, that's where I've been for the past 15 years, is playing improv music. You've got Tony and his blues background, and you've got Charlie coming from sort of that indie rock,
Right.
Pixies and stuff like that. And it's kind of an interesting, you take them and you put them all together, around what I would say was a fairly eclectic set, right? I mean, we've got a good sort of variety of stuff, everything from, Zeppelin to Buddy Miles to,
the Meters.
So,
Johnny Cash.
That's right.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're kind of all over the place as far as the set list goes. You might look at the set list and go, wow, what is this, a variety show? And in a lot of ways it is, and we kind of did that on purpose, but it's all those diverse backgrounds, and you bring them together, and we, I think we make it work. It's, it's interesting.
I think you've got, like, for the old school Pensacola punk rock 90s people, you've got one handlebar, one Slogos, and one Night Owl.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's how you guys are lined up.
That's a great way to look at it.
So, well, cool, man. You want to just kind of rip away at it here and sort of let Facebook in on what we're kicking?
All right. Well, I'll play a little. Well, since we were talking about Duck Dynasty and everything, I'll give you a little example of what I was saying as far as tempo. A lot of guys, when they ask me, well, how you write the stuff and how it sits in a scene, when I was saying about tempo, sometimes when you play something kind of fast, it's that emotion that kind of comes across. So sometimes slowing something down. So if you play the same riff, and this is maybe how I kind of honed in on a lot of this, if I can play a riff where I'm going, and I just keep a steady beat, that portrays a different kind of emotion. If I play the riff, that's a different emotion if I do exact same thing and just slow it up and go. So a lot of times when I write for TV, I'll send them both of those tempos. I have absolutely no idea how it's going to fit, but it's giving them those kind of choices of tempo in a scene, because I don't know where it's going to sit. So a lot of times, like, in Duck Dynasty for Psy, everything is really kind of, you know.
Yeah, so was Psy, right?
So stuff like that, you know. And then for like Willie would be always, he's faster. Stuff like that.
And don't you feel like you're in your living room, man?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I got back at you. I'm hanging out for a little while.
So yeah, so I picked up, that's what I do a lot of. It's really tempo based. It's the riff, as you can tell, I'm playing the same thing. It's kind of regardless of what I play, but growing up, you're not taught as a musician, like, this G chord's hilarious, this F is depressing. You don't tie it to emotion.
It's the saddest of all chords.
There's a certain je ne sais quoi of getting your guitar to talk, right? And that's what I think you're doing with that, is the guitar's telling a story.
Well, I couldn't have done it if I didn't live in Mississippi. I don't think I had that thing. I think I was a good musician when, growing up in Chicago, being around it. But I have to say, the one thing you
didn't get your blues till you went to Mississippi?
Yeah, when I took that reverse trek down to the South and I lived there, and being in there's something in the dirt and in the air in Mississippi. And this music came from there for a reason.
Right.
And I learned, I think, kind of, and to be honest with you, I hate to admit this, but until Duck Dynasty, like I found out right away with these editors, you never tell them no, because they will never ask you a second time. So when they came to me and said, well, we want some dobro for the next season. You play dobro, right? Oh, yeah.
You sure? I do.
Yeah, we'll go figure it out, right?
So I'm telling my wife, I'm like, hey, we got to go buy a dobro. Yeah. She's like, oh my God, you need another guitar. And I'm like, no, seriously, I got to get one.
They're paying for this one.
I never played one of these. And then it opened up a whole thing. And, when they asked me to play, you play banjo, right? Oh, sure. And I'm calling buddies. You have a banjo? And I got on YouTube and I learned how to play banjo over the weekend.
Yeah.
And
I love technology.
Took all the lessons and I went on it. And then the funny thing about that is the first little riff I learned on the banjo, I didn't know how to record it. So I was doing test recordings where I was moving the mic around because I never had any experience with this. So I'm playing the same riff over and over. And then my wife came in and then she's like, you're sending that in. That's really good. And I'm like, no, this is just a test. This is a demo. I'm not recording for real. I have no idea how to play this thing. I don't know how to record it. And she goes, well, you don't know what they're going to look for. Just send it in. And I was embarrassed because it's literally the first thing I ever learned on banjo. So she's like, just send it. So I did. And that's the theme that you hear from Psy on all of those shows.
So stick with this guy, because apparently whatever he touches is gold.
The first time I ever played banjo is immortalized now on that show.
It's awesome.
And I probably got paid more for that riff than I ever did in guitar, but that's how those things go. And that's when I learned really quick that you're your own worst enemy. You got to get over yourself. It's your own ego. You got to let all that go because, you don't know. We're as musicians, we're a little self-conscious and we want to hold things kind of close to the chest.
Sure, because we all think we're the next, Steve Vai and the rock star, right?
Yeah, and you got to get over yourself and just be like, you know what, my mortgage company doesn't care about that.
It's America, pay me, right?
Yeah, so let it go and put it out in the world. And
Are you going to play more than guitar Saturday? Are you going to do the whole arsenal?
Well, we're doing a full band thing. Yeah, so you're going to see Rockstar Tony on Saturday.
Yeah.
I thought for this first show.
He's got some leather pants he's going to wear.
Yeah. Well, I got my
Do you need some lighter fluid?
I got my assless chaps,
Right on.
We can bring pyrotechnics into the...
Yeah, absolutely.
Be careful. It is an historic building.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it is an historic
third
building.
time it'll be on fire.
When you're hanging with, Jeff and Charlie and stuff, dobro doesn't quite cut it with those guys.
I'm sure.
I had to get some more volume.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
We are rocking out this Saturday.
So does Jeff just demolish his drums, or does he have some tact?
Oh no, he's very tasteful.
Yeah,
he's a great drummer. Really.
I can't do the stick twirl though.
Your brother does it quite well, dude. It's awesome.
I know. That's probably the first thing
Along
you
with
learn to
the
do.
Scorpions jean jacket.
But I'm telling you, if he pulled a Tommy Lee at the first rehearsal, we probably wouldn't be sitting here now. That's not my thing.
Just look around the theater and be like, where can he hang me from?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So,
But
Awesome.
no, we've been having a good time.
It's been awesome. Been a lot of fun, and it's been fun playing with Ryan and Trish too, who are going to be sitting in with us.
Yeah, I was going to ask that if you're going to have like people, popping in and out.
Yeah.
That's
So
what super groups do.
that's the super group part, right? So Ryan and Trish, female singer and a male singer, and they're going to be duetting on a few songs here, and it kind of mixes it up, right? Having a female voice in there. She's an awesome singer, as is Ryan. So it's going to be nice.
It's his first gig.
It's his first gig. It's very first gig. Yeah.
Room in the
Who did
deep
she
end
used
right
to sing
out of
with?
the-
Who did she used to sing
That
with?
name sounds really familiar.
Blackwater
What is it?
Blackwater.
Yeah. Okay.
was the band. Yeah.
Right on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And she said, she told me, because her last name's really hard to pronounce. And I was asking her yesterday how to pronounce. And she's like, just do Trish. And I was like, you know what? As good as she is, she don't need a last name.
Yeah.
It's just Trish. She's awesome.
It's
That'll
like
work.
Rihanna. Nobody knows her last name.
Right.
Who cares, right? Cher. Sting.
Cher.
You know?
There's another good one.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's a really good point. Maybe one name's better.
Maybe it's just Jeff.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I need two names. I'm not that good.
It works with you, Tony Pasko.
We can just make you a symbol like Prince.
That's
There you go.
Absolutely.
Step outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
Mine would be
So-
middle finger.
So, did you ever get to meet the guys before? You started writing before you ever met any of those.
Yeah.
On any of the shows, right?
Well, I did meet the Duck Dynasty guys. They asked me. They asked me to come out. They do a Christmas fest every year,
Yeah.
and they asked me to come out and play their fest. And I got to meet Willie and the mom and
Yeah.
the wife and all that. And they're just like they were on TV.
They didn't do like Christmas light battle or anything too.
Say?
They didn't do like Christmas light battle or anything too. I could see those guys totally doing Christmas
Well,
light battle.
they do this duck race thing down the river in their town there, and they release like 100,000 ducks down, and you see all these ducks down the river, and they choose one, and it goes to someone wins a prize. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I was about to say, I thought you were going to say, then they shoot them all.
Then they shoot them up.
Oh, you got to
Well,
keep the
that's kind of
tradition
what
alive.
everybody, I think,
that's
was waiting for, but they didn't. It was for a charity, and they chose one that had somebody's name on it.
Were they
but-
real ducks or they were?
So no, these little rubber duckies. I mean, hundreds of them in this river they released. It was the weirdest thing, but
that can't be good for the environment.
I was just thinking that downstream about 100 miles, there's just down.
Clogging up all the sewers and the water drains. Yeah.
from years past.
Yeah, that's funny. So, because I'd wondered how much of the music and the material you got written before ever meeting them, and then how coincidental that it just sort of matched, or did the Duck Dynasties really match to your music? You know what I mean?
Well,
Or did the editors just say,
I think,
"This is how it works"?
I really do think the music plays a part in how they edit it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I think they start with something like, hey, well, here's the scene. Here's what we written for whatever theme or whatever for that scene. And then I think they go right to the music and go, oh, wait, this is it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they edit to fit that.
Yeah, 'cause you're driving all the emotion.
Yeah, because there's a few times I watched it and they used a track and things queued up to certain cues in the music. And I'm like, oh, that's cool how they did that. Or I'll hear other guys' music, writers, and I was like, man, I wish I wrote that track. That was a cool track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes, for me, I like the work part of it, so and it's interesting how they take your.
Yeah. Well,
feelings
I was going to ask, how do they
and put it-
tee you up? Like, you got teed up one way for Duck Dynasty. It had to be different for Wicked Tuna, right?
Yeah.
They didn't just say, hey, do what you do for Duck Dynasty, but not
Well,
the same
no,
thing,
a lot
right?
of that did fall out of it. Yeah, a lot of it.
Was it like, it was like all B-roll, B-tracks?
Well, I got very lucky, and I didn't know this until just recently, maybe a year or so ago. A lot of the writers that do this for TV, I just thought, I'll be generous, 70% of everything I've ever sent in got used on some show one way or another. I found out that 3% is the average.
Wow. You need to renegotiate your contract.
So, yeah, I was like, whoa, okay. But what my record label did, and I have to give them credit, and I'll tell you the funny thing about my label, these guys have been, really, really supportive, and they keep emailing me and asking me for stuff, but they get it placed. And what's really cool is, with these production companies, what Duck Dynasty a lot of times doesn't use, sometimes they'll save it and I'll be like, man, that was a great track. How could they not use it? And then I'll hear it on the next season. They just didn't have space for it. Or all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, Pipples and Parolees is using that track now. So all of a sudden it shows up on another show, but I wrote it for Duck Dynasty. So you end up finding out that, once you put it out there, it kind of, sometimes these tracks take on a life of their own and they show up in different spots, or, HBO's 30 for 30. All of a sudden I'm writing stuff for that, and they want keyboards, and I got to write elevator music and stuff. Or
I see red carpet in his eyes. You see red carpet in his eyes?
Yeah. You need a drummer, man.
I know one.
Yeah. So a lot of times, these things, people, they hear one thing, but a lot of times, like for Wahlburgers, they want all rock stuff. They don't want the dobro or anything. So you got to change
how is Marky
really
Mark?
Quick. I don't know. I haven't met him? Any of them.
I bet he's a cool cat to hang out with, man.
No, but
as long as you don't mention the Funky Bunch, I think you're good, dude.
You got to call him Marky Mark.
I think you get punched if you do that.
You can't be just Mark. Well, it's got to be Marky Mark. How about a burger, Marky Mark?
I'm pretty sure he's like, dude, it's Mark. I really think like he takes that stand.
Okay.
He separates himself
I'm going to refuse
all
to do that.
Well, Jeff, he just might get punched.
Yeah. All right.
Might be worth it though, right?
I don't know. Ever since the Basketball Diaries, he went downhill.
Yeah, right?
That was the only good role.
Hey, look, Mark, I'm standing up for you, man, but I can only do so much.
Yeah.
So
when you would write for the Duck Dynasty, would you write like a riff or a sound for each character? Or was it just they asked for...
That came later. Yeah, that came later. At first, they just wanted music.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just amazed at how it all just lined up,
just worked
framed
out.
itself. So.
What'd you do for Shark Week? Was that the tempo where you start out really slow and then you speed up, like when they're getting chased and eaten?
Well, no, they said in the email, I think I saved it, where it says about music for Shark Week, and big, huge letters that said no Jaws theme.
but we still want blood and carnage, right?
Yeah. But, and the episode we started on was the Sharks of Louisiana. So they didn't want the same type of music from Duck Dynasty because it was a different. They go, this is, the coast, and Louisiana music is different in, southern Louisiana is different than where they're at, and central Louisiana, and blah, 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 and all this. So I had to do research, and they didn't want any kind of Cajun-y. Well, it had to be more Cajun-y and less more New Orleans.
So you had to learn the accordion?
So, well, I did. I put that kind of stuff in.
Like, what instrument does he not play?
I was just joking. He plays it all.
Except drums.
Well, I faked the
He's got a drum machine.
Keyboard, yeah.
He does. He does.
Of course I do.
Yeah. I have an agency for that.
Oh, I got all kinds of noisemakers. You when you get into this thing, like I went to Toys R Us and I bought those cheesy kid percussion kits and the little tingy pianos, and because they want that kind of stuff.
Right.
Every so often, they want noise, or they just want some weird.
Do you have one of the old '80s like guitar keyboard things?
Guitars.
Yes.
I want one of those.
Everyone should have one of those.
Get one for Saturday night.
I bet Blues Angels Music probably has one. I bet we can find you one.
But yeah, with Shark Week, they wanted more of that.
Here's where the shark starts stalking the poor girl swimming in the water.
It almost says that should be coming around the mountain.
It does.
All right, so that is what region is it? That's sort of southern coastal Louisiana.
Yeah, they want more.
See, because to me that
bluegrassy, Cajun-y kind.
To me, I'm thinking that's like Virginia, South Carolina.
I can hear that.
Like
more bluegrassy for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
what else you got, man?
You can get away with that. But well, like for Duck Dynasty, the main riff that a lot of people know me from, or the one they played a lot, was
the one that started it all.
Yeah, kind of. Was this one here?
Dude, whiskey,
like
shotgun, smokehouse, beef jerky. That's what I think. That's what I felt right there.
That's a crossover.
That's what I felt right there, dude.
Dude, have you ever like had a band playing along with that and put words and lyrics?
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's a full-fledged song.
It's got great rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Does any of that play over into your other stuff? Do you find yourself going, oh, wait.
Oh, yeah.
Too
I've
close.
hacked myself a
Jeff's
few
like, yes.
times.
Dude, we'll be at practice and like he'll play a solo and Charlie and I'll just look at each other and be like, oh my God, what's going on right now? He's just over there sort of gyrating in a little black hole, just ripping it up. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Do you write lyrics as well?
Nah, I'm more of a music writer. My dad was I was telling Jeff, my dad was a professional singer, drummer growing up. So maybe that's why rhythm is such a big deal. And he did threaten my life many times as a kid growing up.
As a good father should, right?
Yeah, and he said to me, he goes, you will not be one of these guitar players with no rhythm, and you will learn how to play in the pocket, and
good for him.
So when growing up, like I was saying, Motown was, his religion. So everything was about rhythm and the voices and the production. He was just so into that.
Yeah.
And he brainwashed me at a very young age.
Did you wore the velvet suit, didn't you?
Not me so much.
Yeah.
He loved it. I got good pictures. It was the 70s, He was in, big pork chop, sideburns and stuff. Yeah, he was all in.
Nice. Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, totally.
Very cool. All right. So what else do we need to know for Saturday?
Come Thursday.
Yeah, come Thursday. All right. Fair enough.
Doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7.
Still
All
got
ages
tickets?
all ages show, right?
All ages show.
Yeah, bring up the whole family. Because like I said, everything we're going to play, there's going to be something there for you to, if you're not into this, trust me, we'll get to, we hit almost, not every style of music, but we hit quite a few.
Well, if you're going to get sell out, just go big, right? I mean,
that's right.
Across the board, baby.
That's right.
I mean, you can't be starving and a musician. It just doesn't work.
True.
Yeah, we got a good set, I think, we put together, and we're going to have fun. We're going to be up there having fun, too.
Yeah.
So, just come on out, bring the whole family. And, a lot of times with kids, I was saying this before, I get asked to do a lot of school stuff where I play for kids and stuff like that. And it amazes me how many kids don't have access to music, live music, and and the ages are staggering how old some of these kids are, and they've never seen some dude with a guitar just strum some chords and stuff. And they realize for the first time what they hear out of their computer actually comes from this thing, and so bring the kids out, have them have that experience of real guys, real musicians. We don't have any kind of ego or anything. We'll talk to them, have them show that there is this thing called live music. Come and support it. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's about the only thing left that's really paying these days, which I think is awesome.
It's the way it should be.
I'm sad that people ripped a lot of people off and they took what was artistically the musicians, but I'm loving the fact that the bands actually have to get back on the road and do what they do that got them there in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's why we do this.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and that's
the ones that got lazy and started to ruin it all. And I was like, dude, it's like 20 years before I've seen my favorite bands go on tour. Now it's like everybody's on tour.
Now it's all the time.
Now I'm like, dude, I need like 6 jobs, right? And then I can't go see.
Pay to go all the concerts.
It's crazy.
But that's the thing, it has to start. See, music. Me personally, not to get musically political or anything.
Go
but
for it,
me,
man.
Growing up, I had access. Music was free. Music isn't this corporate thing that it's become where it sells a soft drink or a pickup truck or something like that, even though that's what I do now. But, for the next generation, we have to make this accessible for them. My dad, I was saying, my dad, when I was growing up in Chicago, used to take me to see bands. And we used to have study sessions. My old man, we'd sit there and I'd have a little kitty cocktail and a bowl of popcorn he'd give me. And he'd have a real man drink. And he'd sit there and he'd go, watch the drummers kick and look at the bass players. See how they're locked together. And school was in session for me. And I had to study. I wasn't just, oh, look at the lights. Oh, this is so great. No, I had to pay attention to this. And he made it important. And I think the message, and I think it's a crime if you let this next generation, don't give them that thing. Don't take it.
Don't let them live on autotune
somewhere else. Make it important to them to go seek out local bands and local talent. And they have it in their backyard, and it's cheap and it's free and it's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, and for a kid like me, playing guitar opened a lot of doors for me, because without it, I'm not sitting here.
Yeah.
And so I owe my whole livelihood to knowing a few chords on a guitar, so
I'm with you. I think
it's important.
Hugely. As much as people want to say, oh, you're in a, in the 90s and the punk rock days of mixed matching socks and chain wallets and stuff, where they all thought we were a bunch of hooligans. Dude, music kept me out of trouble.
Sure.
It kept me from doing stupid things and being with stupid people doing, And
it was an artistic outlet.
Yeah.
And people need that. It makes them smarter. It's like, music's getting cut out of schools. Now I'm going to get up on my soapbox too. But, music's getting cut out of school. What that leads to, music makes kids smarter. Like it's been scientifically shown that, if they play an instrument or are exposed to instruments, all kinds of neural connections and things like that happen. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So, I get it. We don't have a lot of money for schools to pay teachers and do that thing. So we cut the very thing that could help them the most, right?
Or get them through life.
And get them through life, It's
that's music's a common denominator. It has to be. I don't think I know anybody in my life who can say music doesn't affect them on a major scale.
That's true.
And I've traveled all over the world, and I got to tell you that I hated learning how to read music growing up. And again, I go back to my dad thing again, where he was very much, I thought, a tyrant at the time. But
the Whiplash,
I'm thinking maybe it wasn't so much the music as it was the dad.
I'm telling you. No, but I'm glad I had that influence.
Right.
And he made, like I said, he made it important. And learning how to read music wasn't something that a kid's just going to normally gravitate to.
Right.
I had no idea that the dots on the page meant anything. And
I still
didn't
can't
mean
do
anything to me for years. And then as I started becoming more a professional musician, I started traveling all over the world and performing and stuff. And I ended up finding out, I was in Seoul, Korea, and I was doing some clinics out there. And I don't speak Korean. I can't read Korean. It is, it is what it is.
It's all Greek to me.
Yeah, right? But with musicians, these guys wanted to back me and play. And the only way we could communicate is through sheet music.
Yeah.
Everybody reads the same notes in the world. So
good point.
And that's when I learned, I know another language.
Yeah.
I know something that my dad made sure I learned that can get me, I can go in Seoul, Korea, get with a bass player and a drummer and tell them exactly what I need just by writing out the music. So that's the common denominator right there. So that's why I think it needs to be made more important.
Yeah, so that's something Tim would always tell me too. I guess he would go plays with some of the jazz guys and stuff, and he's like, I was like, how do you do that? How do you just jump in and know all this stuff? He's like, well, I don't read music, so that was a little weird, but he's like, it's all the same language.
Yeah.
And for me, because I don't read music, but mine's been more of a feel than it's ever been cover songs or sort of whatever's on the sheet music, mostly because I couldn't read it, right?
Yep.
So then I'm like, if it's not mine, I don't want to play it.
That was interesting earlier when you were talking about it took you a while to attach an emotion to a chord. I think as a listener, I think
that's the first thing.
Yeah, to me, that's the first thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the song creates an emotion, or maybe the emotion draws you to the song, whichever way you want to look at it.
Or the girlfriend that broke up to you.
So it's weird,
right? Song.
That's
right.
right.
A while to figure that out.
It took me a while to kind of make that connection. And know how
and
to
that's the success. That's you figured it out. You figured that out.
Yeah. Because I played songs my whole life, and from a musician, sometimes we get caught in the technical side. Don't forget that E minor switch in there and this and that, So I think, because I have that technical background, that's how I think sometimes. Yeah. And the emotional part of, I'm going to hit this chord. This is going to be it.
Yeah.
See, for me, going to gigs growing up, it was always the job. That's how you got paid. So when I'd be in bands and the guys would be like, hey, man, we're going to drink some beers. We're going to rock out. I'm like, whoa, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's about the audience drinking beers, not us. We're the entertainment. This is our job.
See, I was never good enough to get paid, so I never had to go through the hell.
So you just
it was always the music for me.
Give me another beer.
Yeah, see, I never had that opportunity because I grew up, being my dad's roadie, setting up his kit. I was this goofy, weird little 10-year-old telling the sound guy, "Oh, we have two main mics over here, and there's an overhead over there, and this guy." I was that kid, and so for me, it was always the job. It was,
which is funny too, because the thing we were talking about where you find that space or the pocket or that's emotion to me. That's way more than ever technique or you just know what note's going to come next and everybody just kind of ends up there.
Yep.
Well, and when you have that connection with other musicians. That's why, you hear about musicians, oh man, I was in this band in high school. That's why they have, because you make that connection. It never goes away.
Yeah.
It could be 20, 30 years and you run into your old bass player. Dude, what's up? You just say,
Let's go get some beers.
Yeah. He could have been a nightmare at that time, but you forgive, you move on. And, so yeah, I think that's the special thing. And I think more kids, being online, you're never going to get that.
Yeah.
That connection with somebody. So that's why I always say, go out, sweat, play, whatever style of music. It doesn't matter.
Just
get
do
out
something.
Do
Yeah.
Be loud.
That's it, man. Put something in front of them. They're bound to pick something up.
Stink it up. Get on stage and stink it up a couple of times. You'll get better.
Yeah, the only reason I ended up playing bass is because I sucked at guitar, and we already had a guitarist, and they were like, "Look, dude, my two best friends too. You want to be in the band? We need a bass player.
You got to play bass. That's man.
I was like, but I just bought a guitar. They're like, yeah, well, just go buy a bass. Thank God they did, man. 'Cause I love playing bass way more than I ever got into guitar.
In my opinion, it is one of the most important. The most important instrument in the band.
Couldn't get along as much as we do without Charles.
Yeah,
you can always the difference between a
good
good
the middleman between the guitarist and the drummer.
Well, the difference between a good band and an excellent band is always the bass player, in my estimation. I mean, because when they're good, I mean, it makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. All the difference in the world. Unsung heroes.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I support you 100%. 150%.
All right. Maybe those drummers aren't so bad. I'll take back some of those comments.
There you go.
So, all right. Well, we've got probably like 2 or 3 minutes left. Is there anything that we've missed that we need to make sure that I can get a website?
Check us out on Facebook for upcoming shows. And then tickets can be bought at theimaginetheater.com.
Awesome.
$10. Come
all
and
right,
see us.
So
come see us. Bring the kids.
Yeah. What's the supergroup site? Is it wafflehorse.com?
There is no supergroup site. I guess no, there isn't.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Oh, there's a quick thing about the name of the band. I sent the information to the person who does our social media.
Yeah.
And she put out Waffle House on the event page. I'm like, no, that's not Waffle House. It's Waffle Horse. Oh, I thought it was a typo.
I'll be absolutely honest. Until this morning, I was reading it way too fast. So I thought it was one night only, Tony Pasko, and then we're going to Waffle House.
At the Waffle House.
I thought it was like music, and then we're going to get some Scatter Smother Cover Chunk, right? I was like, this is perfect.
Step up for some of the places I played. I love to play the Waffle House.
Yeah. Have your jukebox be your backup band?
Oh my God, that'd be great.
Yeah. So, man, thanks for hanging with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You want to send them, you got websites and all that good stuff?
Yeah, TonyPasko.com. Pasko.
That's it. Find us on Facebook.
Yeah, find me on Facebook.
Awesome. All right, you guys, this has been Pensacola Business Radio, and I don't even know what we're going to call this series, but we've just started something really big. So you can find us at Pensacola BRX on Facebook. You can find us at Pensacola Radio X on Twitter. Have a good day.
Awesome.
We're out.